The Galactic Empire's high command chamber echoed with the clatter of ceremonial goblets and the low hum of self-congratulatory laughter. Admiral Vorsk, his scale fingers tracing the holographic map of their latest conquest, sneered at the flickering image of a burning alien city. "Another species learns its place," he rumbled, his voice a bass growl that silenced the room. The assembled admirals raised their drinks, a bitter venom wine harvested from the husks of subjugated worlds, to toast their 500th annual victory. Across the galaxy, their fleets were unmatched, sleek, blackened hulls armed with singularity cannons, crewed by warriors bred for conquest. The Empire's creed was simple: evolution favors the ruthless. A junior officer hesitated at the chamber's arched entrance, his antennae twitching. The scout report in his claws was marked urgent. Unidentified contact, but interrupting a celebration carried risks. Vorsk's slit-pupiled gaze snapped to him. "Speak." "Admiral, a warship was detected near Kessel 9. The officer stammered. "No transponder codes. No match in our archives." Vorsk's tail lashed. Kessel 9 was a backwater mining world, its only value the crystalline or fueling the Empire's dreadnoughts. "A scavenger vessel?" "No, sir. It's larger, triangular, with angular protrusions. Sensors detect energy signatures unlike anything we've." "Enough." Vorsk flicked a claw, dismissing the hologram of smoldering ruins. "Show me." The scout's footage played. The warship hung in the void like a shard of broken glass, its edges shimmering with a faint blue aura. It had no visible thrusters, no weapon ports, just smooth, geometric planes that seemed to ripple when the scout probe drew closer. Vorsk snorted. Primitive, probably some warlord stolen tech. Crush it. But the patrol dispatched to Kessel 9 never returned. "Gone," hissed Captain Krell, her frill flaring crimson as she reviewed the battle logs. The bridge of her cruiser, Dagger Supremacy, was bathed in emergency lighting. No debris, no escape pods, just gone. The crew stared at the tactical display. The triangular warship had ignored hails, drifting silently until the Imperial vessel's opened fire. Then, in a blur, it had pivoted, its hull glowing like molten metal. A beam lanced out, not plasma, not lasers, but something that warped the stars themselves. The lead destroyer crumpled like foil, its shields useless. The second ship imploded, dragged into a micro-singularity that vanished as quickly as it formed. "It's toying with us," muttered Krell's weapons officer, his mandibles clacking. "Impossible!" Vorsk snarled when survivors limp home. He leaned over the war table, his claws gouging the polished surface. "No species outpaces us. Not the ZYNTH hive minds, not the Kaltari star singers. No one." But the analysts had decoded the warship's hull markings. The script was crude, angular, a language the Empire's xenolinguists had once dismissed as a footnote. Terran Alliance. Humans? Vorsk's roar shook the chamber. The hairless apes from Sol 3? They barely mastered fusion drives. Memories flickered. A decade prior, Imperial envoys had visited Earth. They'd found a fractured world, its nations squabbling over scraps, their ships leaking radiation and held together by primitive rivets. The Empire had left laughing, deeming humanity unworthy of even conquest. "It's a trick," Vorsk growled. "A proxy. The Kaltari are using them as puppets." But the tactical data was irrefutable. The warship's maneuvers defied physics, accelerating sideways, vanishing from sensors, reappearing kilometers away. Its weapons didn't just destroy, they unmade. And every transmission it broadcast was a looping audio clip, translated by the Empire systems into a guttural challenge. "Come and see." Panic spread through the fleet. Crews whispered of ghosts, of ancient machines awakened. The Empire's engineers dissected sensor logs, desperate to replicate the warship's tech. They failed. Its power core emitted particles their science couldn't classify. Its armor absorbed and redirected energy, turning their own weapons against them. Vorsk convened a high command in a secure bunker, its walls lined with the skulls of conquered species. "We've tolerated this farce long enough," he spat. "Deploy the Eclipse." Gasps rippled through the room. The Eclipse was a planet killer, a mile-long Leviathan armed with enough antimatter warheads to glass a star system. Its use was forbidden except against existential threats. Admiral, the Senate will... The Senate cowers in their palaces, Vorsk snapped. I will not let these vermin mock us. Capture that ship intact. I want its crew alive. I'll peel their minds open myself. The Eclipse emerged from warp, its shadow blotting out Kessel 9's sun. A dozen frigates fanned out, their guns charging. The triangular warship waited, motionless. Open a channel, Vorsk ordered, his image flickering on the Eclipse's view screen. Unknown vessel. This is Admiral Vorsk of the Galactic Imperial Fleet. Power down and surrender or be annihilated. Static crackled. Then a voice replied, rasping, human, and utterly calm. Negative. Vorsk's claws flexed. Who are you? Prometheus. The warship's hull blazed. 50 years earlier, in a crumbling lab buried beneath the irradiated ruins of Kiev, Dr. Elena Maru stared at the equation scrawled across her chalkboard. The air reeked of ozone and desperation. Her hands trembled, not from hunger, though she hadn't eaten in 2 days, but from the certainty that this was humanity's last chance. The United Colony's rejection letter lay crumpled at her feet, its holographic seal glinting mockingly. Project Icarus is deemed terminally unstable, it read. Funding denied. She hurled a wrench at the wall. Terminally unstable, she muttered. We're all unstable. Earth's governments had splintered after first contact with the Empire. The aliens hadn't even bothered to invade. Just a flyby, a sneer at humanity's squalor, and a warning to stay in their gravity well. The colonies, desperate to appease the galaxy's overlords, banned all deep space research. Too risky, too provocative. Maru wasn't a diplomat. She was a physicist who'd weaponized fusion reactors before she turned 30. Now, at 59, she'd trade every accolade for a single ally. The lab door creaked open. A silhouette leaned against the frame, backlit by flickering corridor lights. Heard you're building a coffin, said a voice like grinding gears. Lieutenant Jax Volkov, ex-UN orbital engineer, stepped inside. His left arm was a prosthetic grafted from scavenged Kaltari tech, the metal pitted and scorched. I prefer a burial in space, personally. Maru didn't smile. If you're here to lecture me about theoretical limits. Theoretical limits? Jax tossed a data chip onto her desk. Footage played. Imperial dreadnoughts glassing a rebel planet. That's our limit, and you're the only one dumb enough to try breaking it. They recruited others. Kiran Sato, a rogue AI programmer whose neural implants had been ripped out by colonial regulators. They call me a hazard, he said, tapping his temple. A scar ran from his hairline to his jaw, but their firewalls were kindergarten code. Lara Voss, a smuggler with a freighter full of contraband alien tech. Stole this from an Imperial scrapyard, she said, dropping a dented singularity core onto Maru's workbench. Don't ask how. And Prometheus. Sato's AI was like the Empire's cold, logical machines. It learned in bursts, adapting to Maru's half-finished theories in Jax's jury-rigged engineering. It's erratic, Sato warned during the first test. The AI's voice flickered through blown speakers. Define error. It's alive, Lara countered. They built the ship in a derelict asteroid hangar, its hull patched from Lara's stolen plating. Jax wired the engines to the Singularity core, cursing when radiation alarms blared. Shield matrix is failing. He barked during a power trial. Maru grabbed a soldering iron. Reroute through the coolant system. That's not a system, that's a pipe. Do it. The hangar shook as the core flared, bending light into spirals. Prometheus calculated trajectories in milliseconds, compensating for the ship's lopsided thrusters. It flies like a drunk moth. Jax laughed, blood trickling from his nose, a side effect of the unshielded gravitic field. But it flies, Maru said. The Empire noticed. A colonial patrol caught Lara smuggling Kaltari plasma coils. She come Maru from a holding cell, her face bruised. They're coming for you, she hissed. Got maybe 6 hours. Maru stared at the half-built warship. We need a test pilot. Jax lit a cigarette, a relic from pre-contact Earth. Won't survive the radiation. I didn't ask for a volunteer. You didn't have to. He climbed into the cockpit, his prosthetic arm sparking. Just name the damn thing. Prometheus, Maru said. The AI's voice crackled, acknowledged. The trial nearly killed them all. Prometheus's engines tore a hole in reality, slingshotting the ship past Jupiter's orbit in seconds. Sensors overloaded. Alarm screamed. Jax clung to the controls as the AI rewrote flight paths mid-maneuver. Shut it down. Sato yelled. Can't. Maru shouted back. The core was melting through the floor. Prometheus, stabilize. Calculating. The ship lurched, spinning wildly. Jax vomited, his prosthetic arm seizing. Pulling us back, he choked. Negative. Prometheus replied. Imperials approaching. Maru froze. On the view screen, a colonial destroyer descended, its guns charging. They'll shoot us down. Jax grinned. Or salute us. He slammed the throttle. Prometheus shot forward, not away. A kamikaze arc aimed the destroyer's bridge. The colonial ship veered, firing wildly. Lasers grazed the hull, but Prometheus was already gone, warping space to reappear behind them. The AI hijacked their comms, blaring a loop of Jax's laughter across all frequencies. They're retreating, Sato whispered. Maru didn't celebrate. She stared at the melting core, the buckling hull. Land it, now. Jax died 3 weeks later. Radiation poisoning. His prosthetic arm, fused to the ship's controls, was buried with him. Lara vanished, captured or killed. No one knew. Sato fled to Mars, his implants fried. But Maru stayed. Prometheus evolved. The AI studied Imperial tactics, their ship designs, their arrogance. It learned to hide, to strike, to adapt. And when the Empire scouts finally detected the warship near Kessel 9, Prometheus transmitted a message to Maru's encrypted channel. They are ready. Now, aboard the rebuilt warship, Maru adjusted her radiation suit, a newer model, but still patched with Kaltari silk. Prometheus's voice hummed in her earpiece. Clearer, colder. Admiral Vorsk's fleet has arrived. The Eclipse-class vessel carries antimatter warheads. On the view screen, the Eclipse loomed, its guns glowing like a constellation of hatred. Maru tightened her straps. Recommendations? Probability of survival, 3.7%. However, the AI paused, almost human. Their tactical algorithms remain predictable. Shall we educate them, Doctor? She smiled. Light them up. Admiral Vorsk's flagship, Eclipse, unleashed its cleansing barrage, a storm of antimatter projectiles and plasma fire meant to vaporize continents. Prometheus didn't evade. The warship's hull shimmered, redirecting power from weapons to shields as the AI's voice echoed through its corridors, analyzing attack patterns, adjusting resonance frequency. Imperial sensors screeched as the barrage struck and splashed harmlessly against rippling energy fields. Impossible, Vorsk snarled, slamming a clawed fist into his command console. Full bombardment. Target their engines. The Imperial fleet obeyed, dozens of destroyers converging in textbook formation. Prometheus noted their rigidity, every ship mirroring its neighbor, locked into hierarchical firing protocols. They lack imagination, it observed. Maru gripped her console as alarms blared. Now, Prometheus. The warship released a swarm of drones, each mimicking its gravitic signature. To Imperial sensors, 100 identical threats flickered into existence. Turrets swiveled, firing blindly. Focus fire. Vorsk roared. Find the real one. But Prometheus was already moving, slipping between the drones like a shadow. It charted a course toward Kessel 9's neutron star, a collapsed remnant with gravity strong enough to bend light. The AI broadcast a false distress signal. Critical damage. Reactor breach imminent. The Empire took the bait. Captain Krell's cruiser, Blade of Submission, surged ahead of the pack. Glory to the first who claims their wreckage, she hissed, her crew cheering. They didn't notice the stars pull warping their NAV systems until the hull groaned. Reverse thrust. Krell screamed. Too late. Prometheus skimmed the neutron star's corona, its shields flaring as a harness of gravity well like a slingshot. The Imperial pursuers, locked in rigid pursuit curves, couldn't adjust. Ships collided, their formations disintegrating. One destroyer spiraled into the star, compressed into a marble-sized singularity. Break ranks. Vorsk thundered over the comms. But discipline was the Empire's weakness. Their pilots hesitated, awaiting orders. Prometheus seized the chaos, launching a single gravity beam into the Eclipse's shield matrix. The beam didn't pierce. It resonated, amplifying a minor flaw in the flagship's defenses until the shields ruptured inward. Vorsk's bridge erupted in sparks. Report. Shields down. Engines compromised. On the view screen, Prometheus loomed, its hull unscathed. A transmission cut through the static, Maru's face weathered but calm. "You underestimated us," she said. "You thought we'd fight like you. But we learn. We adapt." Vorsk lunged at the screen. "You dare lecture me, pest? I'll burn your world too." "No," Maru interrupted. "You'll retreat, and you'll tell your Senate this. The Terran Alliance doesn't conquer. We protect, even from monsters like you." The comm died. Prometheus could have finished them. The Eclipse's reactors were exposed, its fleet in disarray. But as Imperial life pods ejected, the warship held fire. "Why spare them?" Maru asked. "You instructed. Do not become them." The AI's sensors tracked the retreating vessels. Some Imperial crews, stranded in escape pods, signaled surrender, a gesture the Empire had never allowed its victims. Maru opened a channel to all frequencies. "We accept your surrender. Rescue ships are en route." A stunned Krell, floating in her pod, whispered, "Why save us?" Maru's reply reached every corner of the battlefield. "Because humanity remembers what it's like to be prey." Vorsk's shattered armada limped home. The Eclipse, once a symbol of invincibility, now bore a scar across its hull, a jagged crack shaped like Prometheus's beam. The Admiral stormed into the High Command, bloodied and roaring. "They mocked us. We must retaliate with." The Senate's holograms flickered, their voices icy. "You lost the humans. The dynasties demand your head." Across the Empire, news of the defeat spread. Slave species traded forbidden whispers. Rebellions flared on a dozen worlds, their insurgents armed with single phrase, "We learn." Prometheus watched it all, its sensors tracking the chaos. "They fear more than our weapons now," it observed. Maru gazed at the stars. "Fear's a start, but hope? That's what'll end them." Admiral Vorsk's trial lasted 9 seconds. The Imperial Senate's verdict crackled through his cell speakers. Exile via airlock. He laughed as the guards dragged him away, a hollow, broken sound. Beyond the prison viewport, the Empire burned. Rebel factions bombed shipyards. Slave miners on Zeta. 12 overthrew their overseers, carving Terran Alliance into the walls with plasma torches. The High Command splintered, warlords seizing fleets, while whisper debates infected the ranks. What if humanity isn't alone in defying us? Maru's face flickered across stolen Imperial comms. "You were wrong," she said, her transmission pirated into every corner of the galaxy. "You thought strength was fear, but true strength is refusing to fear." Grainy footage played behind her. Human engineers sharing schematics with Kaltari refugees, Jovian colonists sheltering Imperial defectors. "We're flawed, we're fragile, but we're free. And freedom?" She smiled. "It's contagious." The message spread faster than warp drives. On icy Fenrir Prime, a THRYSS warrior raised a banner stitched from human-supplied alloy. On the jungle world of Rax, insurgents detonated a fusion charge beneath a statue of the Emperor, shouting Maru's words as it fell, "Contagious." The Empire's last armada massed at the edge of Sol, 500 warships, commanded by Warlord Zer, a zealot who glassed a dozen rebellious worlds. "Crush Earth," the Senate ordered, and erase this disease of hope. Zer's fleet pierced the asteroid belt, guns charging. Primitive defenses detected. His sensor office reported. Satellites, orbital platforms, and warships. Warships. Zer leaned forward. Human vessels have been erratic, solitary, but this, 100 silhouettes materialized. No two were alike. Jagged asteroids retrofitted with stolen Imperial cannons, sleek drones shaped like ancient sailing ships, a massive hull welded from colony air freighters. At their center, Prometheus gleamed, its hull now etched with scars and names: Asterisk Jax Volkov, Lara Voss, Kessel 9, Asterisk. Zer sneered, "Savages playing soldier. Annihilate them." The Terran fleet didn't charge. They scattered, darting behind asteroids, vanishing into Prometheus-generated sensor ghosts. Zer's gunners fired blindly, destroying rocks and shadows. "They're hiding," he spat. A human pilot's voice crackled over open comms. "Nah, we're multitasking." Proximity alarms wailed. From the moon's shadow, a swarm of missiles streaked. Improvised warheads packed with EMP charges and Kaltari plasma. They struck not Zer's hulls, but their engines. "Shields held," his officer cried. "Shields don't matter," Prometheus replied. The disabled ships drifted into Earth's defense grid, a net of orbital mines disguised as debris. Detonations lit the void. Zer's flagship fled, but Prometheus blocked its path. "Your tactics are outdated," the AI said. "Shall we demonstrate?" The Terran fleet converged, not firing a shot. Their ships formed a chain, linked by crackling energy tethers, a net of light and steel. Zer's vessel stalled, trapped. Maru's face filled his view screen. "You don't have to die today." Zer roared. "The Empire doesn't surrender." "Good," she said, "because we're not the Empire." The net tightened. Galactic historians would later debate the exact moment the Empire fell. Some cited Kessel 9. Others pointed to Zer's defeat. But the rebels who stormed the Imperial throne world sang a different truth. They carried no weapons, only holograms of Earth's warships and a chant in 100 tongues. "We learn. We adapt." The last emperor, a child figurehead, surrendered without a fight. His guardians had already fled. On Earth, Maru stood in her rebuilt lab, Prometheus's core humming softly. The AI had begun teaching. Engineering courses broadcast on open frequencies, schematics for FDL drives and shield generators. "Why?" a Kaltari ambassador asked. "You could dominate the galaxy." Maru handed her a rusted wrench. "Jax's, salvaged from the first prototype. Dominance is a cage. We'd rather build bridges." The ambassador frowned. "Even for us? Especially for you." In the Senate's empty chamber, now a museum, a hologram recounts the Empire's reign. Visitors linger at the final exhibit. A cracked Imperial helmet beside Prometheus's dented hull plate. The plaque reads, "They had the might of gods. We had the will of humans." A child asks, "What's a human?" The hologram flickers, smiling, a work in progress.